Hey, welcome to day 241. We're in Jeremiah and Ezekiel. Get your lists out because we're going to add to descriptions of God, his attributes. Let's start with Jeremiah 42 and talk about how God is sorry. God is also, shows his compassion in this respect. Verse 10, stay here in this land. If you do, I will build you up and not tear you down. I will plant you and not uproot you, for I am sorry about all the punishment I have had to bring upon you. So that just shows his compassion. A lot of times we just hear about compassion and mercy, and it's really between the lines, how long it takes him to finally bring the punishment from the beginning of time to the flood, 1,600 years, and then from there until now. So you're looking at just about, the same amount of time. I'd have to look at it, but it's amazing how long it takes, and he makes reference to that here in a minute. We have war, famine, and disease sightings, 42, verse 17, 22, and then in chapter 44, verse 13. I think what we get from that is that anytime there's disaster, usually from war, you get famine and disease. And we talked about that, but it's all throughout all of the punishments. And then also in Revelation. And then we have the sighting of the Queen of Heaven. If you look at all your Starbucks mugs and glasses, they have a female goddess that's on there. Not that that's the Queen of Heaven that they're talking about here, but it's the same type of rebellion that I want to mention here. And this distortion of truth and not willing to acknowledge the truth blatantly, even though it is obvious that what the truth and the good stuff is. They blatantly follow their own evil desires. So chapter 44, verse 16 and 17 of Jeremiah, this is what they say: we will not listen to your messages from the Lord. That is today, exactly. We will do whatever we want. We will burn incense and pour out liquid offerings to the Queen of Heaven just as much as we like, just as we and our ancestors and our kings and officials have always done in the towns of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For in those days we had plenty to eat and we were well off and had no troubles. The exact same thing they said after they left Egypt. And now they want to go back, and God keeps telling them in today's reading, don't go back to Egypt. Don't go back to Egypt. And in verse 22, it was because the Lord could no longer bear all the disgusting things you were doing that he made your land an object of cursing, a desolate ruin without inhabitants, as it is today. It all happened because you have burned incense to idols and sinned against the Lord. Okay, and then in chapter 42, he talks about there still will be a remnant that comes out of Egypt, and he'll bring back. So just the compassion and mercy that God has, even when he is just, he can no longer bear the disgusting things. And instead of wiping everybody out, he saves just a little bit, just like he did Noah. But Noah was righteous. Let's see here. A blatant distortion of the truth. That's what we just read. He couldn't bear it any longer. And then he brings the disaster, verse 27. For I will watch over you to bring you disaster and not good. Don't ever let anybody say that God, if there was a real God, he wouldn't do bad things. That's just ridiculous. You got to talk about perverted justice at that point with those people. Act like today in Ezekiel, the last part of the reading, in Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 32 and 33. This is so much like today. This is what the people are like. You are very entertaining to them. He's talking about Ezekiel. You are very entertaining to them, like someone who sings love songs with a beautiful voice or plays fine music on an instrument. They hear what you say, but they don't act on it. But when all these terrible things happen to them, as they certainly will, then they will know a prophet has been among them. So the point here is that people will act like they're listening to good. People will go to church, but they will do their own evil things and keep on doing whatever they want, listening to whatever their itching ears want to hear. And that's the prophecies near the end times. So that's what we're looking for. So that is your day 241. I'll see you tomorrow.